My name is Jillian, and this is my writing story. Before this class, when I was in preschool, I remember learning my ABCs and numbers, but I secretly pretended like I couldn't because I didn't want my parents to make me practice. However, when I got into elementary school and my teacher told me that I could publish my own book, I wrote book after book after book with my own stories. I loved to write. I have never had confidence in my writing. My biggest problem was brainstorming and coming up with a good idea to write about. I always had images in my mind of what my writing would come out to, but it never ended up that way. In fact, I even resorted to saying, I'm just not an English person. Then I would write thesis after thesis, and in the end, I would just give up because that was the easier thing to do. In fact, when I was younger, I always wanted to write, so I would take spiral notebooks and start to write a story. However, I would usually get a paragraph in, and I would stop writing. I never finished a story. A comment from a paper my sophomore year reads that my final draft reads a little like a first draft. Over my high school years, I have taken Honors English 101, AP Seminar, and AP Lit. Although wonderful classes, I never learned grammar. In fact, I never played one game of No Red Ink. Where I am now. Coming into this class and being in this class, the hardest thing for me is still figuring out what to write about. Before I was in this class, my biggest solution to that was not to write. I would only complete the required assignments and move on. However, now I have learned that writing about something you're passionate about is the best thing that you can do. When I learned this, I started listing things that were important to me: family, friends, swimming, and nursing. Nursing is something that I'm really passionate about, so I learned how to write about it. My favorite line comes from a college admissions essay that I wrote about nursing, when I say, I will witness the "you will always be a part of me" kind of love of a parent when a child does not live past their first day. If you are passionate, it will be your best work. For this class, I never wanted anyone to read my work. In fact, I would purposely dim my Chromebook screen or go into a different room so nobody would read it. However, when I got into this class, like I show here, I would purposely text my friends and ask them to read over my paper, give me critiques and things that they like about it so that they can improve my writing and so that I can share my story with them. One thing that has helped me a lot from this class in my writing is writing moves, and the coolest part is that I've used it in other classes as well. For example, in the Clase de Español, the Spanish class, I don't have a lot of vocabulary to use, so I was able to change up my sentences with the stuff that I had and make them more effective using writing moves. Writing moves have helped enrich my writing in Spanish so that I can be more creative and more expressive in my writing with the lack of vocab. Another amazing tool from this class has been my writer's notebook. In the beginning of the year, I made sure that there was no spelling mistakes, and I used whiteout to fix anything that I thought was a mess up. I also didn't share anything personal or any feelings that I had. Now I don't worry about spelling mistakes, and I don't cross out things that are written wrong. I also make sure to write down what I'm feeling and fully answer the prompt. In the beginning of the year, I shared a lot of the fake me. Now I share the real me. The biggest thing that I worked on in this class was writing moves. I remember when Mrs. Powell told us that we had to highlight writing moves in red in our essays. I was a little frustrated because I didn't know how to use them, and quite frankly, I didn't want to. My first paper probably had the required amount of writing moves because I didn't want to do them. Now, I naturally put writing moves in my paper, and when we have to highlight them, my whole paragraphs are practically red. My future. My strengths now are that I know how to effectively and correctly use punctuation. Punctuation can make a big difference, just like the simple example of "let's eat grandma" or "let's eat grandma." There are a lot of things that I want to write about in the future, but a big one is travel. This spring break, I'm going to Costa Rica with Senorita Grote, and I'm hoping to be able to write about my experiences to show my family and for me to remember all the cool things that I'm going to do there. In my future, I will approach writing with confidence. Whether that's writing an essay for college, posting on social media, or keeping a blog about things I'm passionate about. After Prairie Ridge, I have a plan to pursue my education at a college of nursing. Although nursing is a very math and science-oriented field, there is still writing involved. An article highlighting writing in nursing says that writing makes nurses professional. Thank you for listening.